Good afternoon, everyone. Just before I start, I'd like to see a show of hands for those who think the space, technology, or exploration is exciting. Wonderful. And for those of you who haven't put your hands up, I'll probably be able to show you that it is actually much more tangible and real than you think. So, space, for me, is a fuzzy word. It looked a bit like that, so it's a fuzzy word with lots of beautiful pictures. And that's how space is for me when I was a child. And then at university, I joined star parties, which means I go with a group of people, set up some telescope, and look at the craters on the moon or Saturn if the timing's right. So all of that's very interesting, but that didn't stick. The curiosity didn't stay with me. And I went on and graduated from electronics and electrical engineering, then ended up in software development. Until one day, my colleague said to me, "You don't have to tell me about space. I'm a software developer, I know." So I thought, okay, I didn't know all software developers knows about these kind of things. And then the second question was, well, why didn't you do anything about it then? No, in fact, why didn't I do anything about it? And that is when everything sort of changed for me. And that sets the scene for our curious case of curiosity. Curiosity is a curious thing. It feeds and it grows on itself. So once I started wondering, curiosity sent me looking for answers. I went and looked around, and what I found is that there's actually quite a lot of things you can do with space, not necessarily having millions and millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars. So I found people actually strapping sensors onto teddies, sending them up to near space with weather balloons and doing some measurements. That's a citizen effort. And there are also people sending things like these, the things that you've been told to turn off, into space. And these things are actually about 300 times as powerful as the computer on Voyager, which is the spacecraft that is heading right out of our galaxy right now. That's how powerful it is. And I found something else that's very, very interesting, called citizen science. It is a movement on participatory and DIY science. Now, this I'll also add engineering to this particular definition and technology and all the rest, just because that's kind of, I'm dealing with them all in one go. But what I found is that people are actually doing a lot with these kind of things. It started in America, and well, they are ahead of us there. They actually have citizen astronauts, so that's as far as they are. But if sending stuff or space or things up, sending stuff or yourself up to space is not your kind of thing, then there is actually a lot more in citizen science that you can do. There are people out there who are building bioreactors with mud from pond. And there are also people who are helping scientists to identify galaxies and ocean features in the comfort of their own room. If that's not your kind of thing, you can also listen to whale songs and help classifying them. So there is surely something for everybody. As for me, I got curious, I want to get started. I wanted to do everything, but I can't do everything. So I started off with citizen space technology, exploration, and research, or hack. I mean, hack is just a word to say I wanted to get hands-on quickly and get on with rapid prototyping. Nothing bad in that sense. So to that end, I've decided to start a community around it. Not only that I wanted to do it myself, but I also wanted to tell people about it. But before I started to do anything with the community, I wanted to make sure that we have this clear. Curiosity is all that matters. Hold that thought, I'll come back to it, you know why. So going back to talking about getting hands-on, we've just came back from European Space Agency's Technology Center in Netherlands last weekend. We went for a visit and saw their facilities. We heard about 3D printing moon base, so houses in moons or facilities in the moon, using moon dust as material. And we've also been chatting to NASA over the internet last year, at the end of last year, about interplanetary internet. It all sounds very far-fetched, but we've made notes and made it available to everyone. So it's definitely out there. But speaking of citizen science, which is a participatory thing, I've got something here today about that. This is a spacecraft. It's true, it's real. This is a spacecraft with electronics printed on it. And this is one that you can program. This is one that anyone can get hands on and program if you're determined. If programming is not yet your thing, you can learn it. It's not hard. Guarantee you. And this is its mothership. Well, this is a 3D printed version. This is not the real one. But this is the chassis of the mothership. The real one will be a couple of times bigger, but basically the mothership will be sending thousands of these into space, for some to land on Earth and some to impact Moon. So you really have a chance to get hands on there. And that's not the only one. Here is another one. This is not a completely finished one. There should be more electronics on it. But this is the board of another spacecraft, which we could have programmed, but we can't now, because this is due to be launched next month. Hundreds of these will be launched into space, into our atmosphere next month, and people will be listening out for them. So those are the spacecraft. If you're not interested in spacecraft and only interested in taking pictures, there is also a telescope which people could have access to, and I'm talking about citizens who can have access to it. You can buy time on it and point it at a celestial object of your choice and get it to take a picture for you. So that's just the beginning of everything that I'm going to tell you about. I could go on and talk more about the tools and the communities around it, but I'd like to go back to something more fundamental: curiosity. Curiosity is what makes us learn and explore and investigate. It sets us going and doing things. But at some point in life, I notice it tends to go missing. And that point is probably when we become responsible adults. Now, I don't know what's going on there. I don't know if it's an age thing or if it's curiosity don't mix with a responsibility thing, but I don't know. I ask the question, I go and look for answers. So curiosity set me looking for answers again, and I just found a bunch of questions as answers, as usual. And when I was organizing events for the community, what I realized is a lot of things that we do is classified under STEM activities. Now, if I could just quickly define STEM, STEM means science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. These are a set of core subjects that governments around the world are encouraging citizens to pick up and learn. It's not hard to see why we think we should do it, because technology is everywhere these days, and as technology advances, we could easily see that it becomes more and more relevant to our daily life, and therefore, we might as well learn about it. There is no problem with learning, except I find that a lot of the STEM programs are aimed at young people. So my big question there really is there anything, is the courses designed for 16-year-old not suitable for a responsible adult who has no prior knowledge in that area? Why can't they also be applicable to that particular program? And I wanted to ask, why is it that we encourage people to do things like learning based on age, based on anything else but curiosity? So, going back to what I told you to remember, curiosity is the only thing that matters. Nothing else matters. And so, to do that, I think we could perhaps be a bit more open-minded. By that, I mean just listen without prejudice. It is very easy when groups are formed and communities are formed that people fall into role-playing instead of exploring. That is a tragic case of curiosity. So, if anything else, if that doesn't work, if listen doesn't work, being open-minded doesn't work, try traveling. It helps to broaden your perspective. And by traveling, and with traveling, we have been taking our communities to visit different other communities who are doing similar lines of work, and go and get our events hosted at different places so that we can have synergies between our members, our venues, and our speakers. And so that way, each time we move from place to place, we leave a few members behind, we also pick up a few. And that is all just well, because everyone should be free to find a place for their exploration. So I'm going to conclude by saying that being a responsible adult is good, but don't let all those evaluation of options and being so responsible hinders curiosity. Let curiosity take the lead, and you follow its lead. Let it lead you to see places that you've never seen before. Thank you.